Billionaire's
Thank you
daughter
so
got
much.
lost.
I can't
Single
believe
mom
it.
found her, and he found his soulmate. 5
My
years old,
baby.
soaking
You're
wet,
safe.
clutching a stuffed unicorn like it was the only solid thing left in the world. Evelyn Rose Roberts had exactly $43 in her bank account, a 7-year-old son waiting at home, and a shift at the diner that started in 20 minutes. She should have kept walking. Instead, she knelt down in that parking lot, ruined her only good work pants, and asked the little girl one simple question. "Where's your daddy?" 3 hours later, she was standing in a penthouse that cost more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes, face to face with Mark Maxwell Taylor, billionaire, widower, and the most desperate man she'd ever seen. He looked at her like she'd saved his daughter's life. He looked at her like she'd saved his. And when he said, "Name your price. Anything you want. Just please don't leave," Evelyn realized she was standing at a crossroads that would change everything. But here's the thing about fairy tales. They never tell you what happens when Cinderella has a son to feed, bills she can't pay, and a heart too broken to trust Prince Charming. They never tell you what happens when the glass slipper doesn't fit your real life. Before we dive into this story, if you're new here, hit that like button right now and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Drop a comment telling me what you think about single moms finding love, and where you're watching from. And to everyone who's been here before, thank you for coming back. Your support means the world. Now let's get into this, because what you're about to hear will make you believe in second chances. The rain came down like the sky was angry. Evelyn pulled her jacket tighter, mentally calculating how long it would take to walk the 6 blocks from the grocery store to her apartment. Her car had died 3 weeks ago, transmission, the mechanic said, which might as well have been a death sentence because she couldn't afford to fix it. 35 years old, a single mom to a 7-year-old boy, working double shifts at Martha's Diner just to keep the lights on. This wasn't how she'd imagined her life would turn out. But then again, nobody plans to get divorced at 29 with a toddler and nothing but broken promises. She was halfway through the Whole Foods parking lot in Carmel by the Sea when she heard it. Crying. Not the tantrum kind. The scared kind. The lost kind. Evelyn stopped, grocery bags cutting into her palms, and looked around. The parking lot was mostly empty, 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, rain keeping people away. Then she saw her. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, standing next to a Range Rover. Blonde hair plastered to her head. Pink raincoat soaked through. Clutching a purple stuffed unicorn. Sobbing like her heart was breaking. Evelyn didn't even think. She just moved. "Hey, sweetie." She knelt down, getting eye level, ignoring the puddle soaking through her work pants. "Are you okay? Where's your grown-up?" The little girl looked up with hazel eyes full of tears. I can't find my daddy. He was right here, and then he was gone, and I don't know where he went, and—" Okay. Deep breaths. Evelyn kept her voice calm even though her heart was racing. A lost child. In the rain. In a parking lot. This was every parent's nightmare. "What's your name, honey?" "Lily." She hiccuped. "Lily Taylor. That's a beautiful name. I'm Miss Evelyn. And we're going to find your daddy, okay? I promise." Lily nodded, still clutching that unicorn. Evelyn looked around the parking lot again. No frantic parents. No security. Just rain and empty cars and a terrified 5-year-old. "Lily, do you know your daddy's phone number?" "Aha. It's 555-0147. She said it perfectly, like she'd practiced. Smart kid. Evelyn pulled out her cracked iPhone and dialed. 1 ring. 2 rings. "This is Mark Taylor." The voice was sharp, professional, distracted. "Mr. Taylor? My name is Evelyn Roberts. I'm in the Whole Foods parking lot on Ocean Avenue, and I have your daughter with me. She's safe, but she's very scared and—" The sound that came through the phone was somewhere between a sob and a prayer. "Lily. Oh God, is she okay? I was inside for 2 minutes, I told her to stay in the car, I locked it, I don't know how she—" "She's fine," Evelyn said firmly. "Wet and scared, but fine. We're by the entrance. I'm coming." 30 seconds. Don't move. Please don't move. The line went dead. Evelyn looked down at Lily, who was shivering now. Without thinking, she shrugged off her jacket and wrapped it around the little girl's shoulders. Your daddy's coming, sweetheart. Any second now. I got out of the car, Lily whispered. I wasn't supposed to. But I saw a puppy and I wanted to pet it and then I couldn't find the car anymore and… Hey, it's okay. You're safe now. 20 seconds later, a man burst through the store entrance like the building was on fire. Evelyn's first thought was that he didn't look like a billionaire. Jeans. Navy Henley. Running shoes. Hair wet from the rain, dark blonde and messy. Hazel eyes that matched his daughter's, except his were wild with fear. Her second thought was that he was beautiful in that devastating way that made your chest hurt. Her third thought was shut up, Evelyn. He's probably married and definitely out of your league. Lily. He dropped to his knees in the puddle, not caring, and pulled his daughter into his arms so tight Evelyn thought he might never let go. Oh God, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you were safe. I saw a puppy, Lily said into his chest, crying again but differently now. Relieved crying. I know. He rocked her, eyes squeezed shut, and Evelyn felt like she was intruding on something private. She started to back away quietly. Wait. The man, Mark, looked up at her, and the gratitude in his expression nearly knocked her over. You found her. You stayed with her. Anyone would have done the same. No. He stood, still holding Lily. They wouldn't have. Most people would have called security and kept walking. You stayed. In the rain. You gave her your jacket. Evelyn glanced down at her soaked shirt, suddenly aware she was standing in a parking lot looking like a drowned rat. It's just a jacket. It's not just a jacket. Mark shifted Lily to one hip, and she buried her face in his neck. I'm Mark Taylor. This is Lily. And I owe you everything. You don't owe me anything. I'm just glad she's safe. At least let me give you money for… I don't need money, Evelyn said quickly, even though that was a lie. She needed money desperately. But taking cash for helping a lost kid felt wrong. I need to get home. My son's waiting. You have a son? 7 years old. And probably wondering why I'm late. Mark looked at her, really looked, and something shifted in his expression. Let me give you a ride. It's the least I can do. You're soaked. My groceries. We'll get them. Please. I can't just let you walk home in the rain after you saved my daughter. Evelyn should have said no. Should have made some excuse and walked away from this man with his desperate eyes and his beautiful daughter and the kind of life she'd never fit into. But she was cold and wet and so tired of always saying no to help because of pride. Okay, she heard herself say. Just a ride. Mark smiled, small and relieved, and Evelyn's stomach did something complicated. This was a mistake. She could feel it already. The Range Rover smelled like leather and money. Evelyn sat in the passenger seat, hyper-aware of her wet clothes soaking into the expensive upholstery. Lily was buckled in the back, finally calm, hugging that unicorn. Her groceries sat in the trunk. Mark had insisted on carrying them. Where am I headed? Mark asked, pulling out of the parking lot. Lighthouse Avenue. The apartments near the elementary school. He nodded, typed something into the GPS. His hands were steady on the wheel, but she could see the tension in his shoulders. The aftermath of fear. She's okay, Evelyn said quietly. Kids are resilient. I know. Mark's jaw tightened. Doesn't make me feel less like I failed her. You didn't fail her. You looked away for 2 minutes. That's not failure. That's being human. He glanced at her, something unreadable in those hazel eyes. You have a son. 7, you said. Cameron. Yeah. Evelyn smiled without meaning to. He's probably eating cereal for dinner right now because Mom's late. You work at a diner? Martha's. On Ocean Avenue. I do breakfast and lunch shifts mostly. She didn't mention the double shifts or the fact that she hadn't had a day off in 3 weeks. That felt like oversharing. And you were walking home in the rain because my car died. Transmission. Evelyn shrugged like it didn't matter, even though it mattered desperately. It happens. Mark was quiet for a moment. How long has it been broken? 3 weeks. Give or take. And you've been walking everywhere? With groceries? To work. There's a bus, she said defensively. It's not a big deal. It's March in Carmel. It rains constantly. I have a jacket. She paused. Well, I did have a jacket. That surprised a laugh out of him, short and sharp and surprised. Like he'd forgotten how to laugh and his body had to remember. Lily perked up from the back seat. Daddy's laughing. I am, baby. You don't laugh lots anymore. The car got very quiet. Mark's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Evelyn wished she could disappear into the expensive leather seat. I know, Mark said finally, his voice rough. I'm going to try to do it more. Okay. Okay. Lily went back to her unicorn, satisfied. But Evelyn couldn't stop thinking about that exchange. About a 5-year-old noticing her father didn't laugh anymore. About whatever pain had carved itself so deep into this man that his own daughter could see it. She knew that pain. Recognized it like an old friend. How long? She asked quietly. Mark didn't ask what she meant. 5 years. She died giving birth to Lily. Evelyn's chest tightened. I'm sorry. Everyone's sorry. He said it without bitterness, just fact. But sorry doesn't change anything. Doesn't bring her back. Doesn't make me any less terrified every time Lily is out of my sight for 30 seconds. Is that why you panicked so hard in the parking lot? I lost them both once already. Mark's voice cracked slightly. My wife and Lily. Emergency C-section. Complications. They told me I might lose them both. And then my wife died and Lily survived, and I've spent 5 years being grateful and guilty and terrified in equal measure. That's a lot to carry, Evelyn said softly. What about you? He glanced at her. 7-year-old son. No wedding ring. Walking home in the rain with $43 worth of groceries. She shouldn't have been surprised he'd noticed the groceries. The man was clearly observant. Divorced. 6 years now. He left when Cameron was 1. Evelyn kept her voice neutral. Decided being a father was too hard. Being a husband was too boring. So he left. I'm sorry. Everyone's sorry, she echoed his words. But sorry doesn't pay the rent or explain to a 7-year-old why his dad doesn't call. Mark pulled up to her apartment complex, a run-down building with peeling paint and a broken security gate. She could feel him taking it in. The contrast between his world and hers. This is me, she said quickly, reaching for the door handle. Wait. Mark put the car in park. Let me help you with the groceries. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Before she could argue, he was out of the car, opening the trunk, gathering her bags. Lily unbuckled herself and climbed out too, still clutching that unicorn. Evelyn's apartment was on the 2nd floor, up an exterior staircase that creaked ominously. She unlocked the door, and Cameron appeared immediately. All arms and legs and 7-year-old energy. Ma. You're late. I made myself. He stopped, seeing Mark and Lily. Who are they? This is Mr. Taylor and his daughter Lily. They gave me a ride home. Cameron's eyes went to Lily. You have a unicorn. His name is Sparkles, Lily said seriously. That's a good name. Cameron stepped back to let them in. We have dinosaurs. Want to see. And just like that, the 2 kids disappeared into Cameron's tiny bedroom. Mark stood in her small living room, holding grocery bags, looking completely out of place among her thrift store furniture and Walmart decorations. "Your son has good manners," he said. "I do my best." Evelyn took the bags from him, their fingers brushing. She tried to ignore the jolt of electricity. "Thank you. For the ride. For everything." "Thank you," Mark said. "For finding her. For staying." They stood there for a beat too long, something unnamed hanging in the air between them. "Daddy!" Lily's voice called from the bedroom. "Can we stay for dinner? Cameron has dinosaur chicken nuggets." Mark's eyes met Evelyn's, apologetic and amused. "I should get her home." "Yeah, of course." But he didn't move. "Or," Mark said slowly, "I could order pizza. For all of us. As a thank you. If that's not too forward." Evelyn should say no. Should maintain boundaries. Should not let this billionaire widower with his sad eyes and beautiful daughter into her life any more than he already was. "Okay," she said instead. "But I'm picking the toppings." Mark smiled, really smiled, and Evelyn realized she was in so much trouble. The pizza arrived 40 minutes later, 3 large pies from a place Mark insisted was the best in Carmel, which Evelyn had never tried because it was the kind of restaurant that didn't list prices online. The kids ate in the living room, sitting cross-legged on her worn carpet, trading stories about kindergarten and second grade. Lily was explaining something about her ballet class while Cameron listened with the serious attention only a 7-year-old could muster. Evelyn and Mark sat at her tiny kitchen table, paper plates and napkins between them, and she tried not to think about how domestic this felt. "How right." "So," Mark said, taking a bite of pizza. "Teacher. How did you?" "Cameron mentioned your work schedule earlier. Said you teach sometimes at night." He smiled slightly. "And you have that energy. Patient. Good at explaining things." "I substitute teach when I can get shifts. Mostly elementary." Evelyn didn't mention that it barely paid anything or that the diner tips were more reliable. "It's what I wanted to do before." "Before?" he prompted gently. "Before Cameron. Before I got pregnant at 26 and married a man who wasn't ready to be a father but swore he would be." She shrugged. "Life happens. Plans change." "Do you regret it, Cameron?" "Never." Her voice was fierce. "The marriage? Every day. But not my son. He's the best thing that ever happened to me." Mark nodded slowly. "Lily's the best thing that ever happened to me too. Even though she cost me." He stopped, jaw tight. "You can say it," Evelyn said softly. "She cost you your wife. That's not wrong to feel." "It feels wrong." Mark set down his pizza. "She's 5 years old. Innocent. Perfect. And sometimes I look at her and feel so much love it physically hurts. And other times I look at her and remember the last time I saw my wife alive, and I—" He didn't finish. Evelyn reached across the table, covered his hand with hers. "You're human. Grief isn't logical. Love isn't logical. You can feel both things at once and neither of them makes you a bad father." Mark turned his hand over, linking their fingers. His palm was warm. Calloused despite the money. "Real. How are you so wise at 35? I'm not wise. I'm just really tired." But she smiled when she said it. "Single parenting is exhausting. I imagine widowed parenting is worse." "It's lonely," Mark admitted. "Everyone wants to help, but nobody knows how. They bring casseroles and offer babysitting and tell me time heals everything. But time doesn't heal. It just makes you better at pretending you're okay." "Yeah," Evelyn breathed. "Yeah, exactly that." They sat there, hands joined across her cheap kitchen table, and something shifted between them. Recognition. Understanding. The specific kind of connection that only comes from shared pain. "Can I ask you something?" Mark's thumb brushed across her knuckles. "And you can tell me if I'm completely out of line." "Okay." "Why were you really walking home in the rain?" With a broken car and $43 in groceries and a shift you were late for. Evelyn should pull her hand back. Should deflect. Should maintain the illusion that she was managing fine. Because my landlord raised rent 3 months ago, she heard herself say instead. $200. Which doesn't sound like much, but when you're already choosing between fixing your car and feeding your kid, $200 is everything. So I've been walking. Taking the bus. Picking up extra diner shifts. Trying to keep Cameron from noticing that we're one emergency away from losing the apartment. Mark's expression went soft and fierce at the same time. Evelyn. I don't want your money, she said quickly. That's not why I'm telling you this. You asked. And I'm tired of pretending I'm okay when I'm drowning. I know you don't want my money. Mark squeezed her hand. But what if I offered you a job instead? Evelyn's heart skipped. What kind of job? Lily needs someone. A nanny, I guess, but that word feels wrong. She needs someone who sees her as a person, not just a paycheck. Someone patient and kind and good in emergencies. His hazel eyes were intense. Someone like you. Mark, I can't. $50 an hour. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's $1,000 a week. $4,000 a month. More than enough to fix your car and pay your rent and stop drowning. Evelyn's mind raced. $4,000 a month. That was more than she made at the diner and substitute teaching combined. That was stability. Security. The ability to breathe. Why? She asked. You don't know me. I could be anyone. You're not anyone. Mark's voice was certain. You're the woman who gave a scared little girl your jacket in the rain. You're the woman who called me instead of security. You're the woman who stayed. And Lily already adores you. She asked me in the car if you could be her friend. Evelyn's throat tightened. This is crazy. We met 3 hours ago. I know. You're a billionaire offering a broke single mom a job that pays more than she's ever made in her life. I know. This feels like a fairy tale. And fairy tales don't happen to people like me. Mark stood, still holding her hand, and moved around the table until he was close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his hazel eyes. Maybe they do, he said quietly. Maybe you just have to be brave enough to say yes. From the living room, Lily's laugh rang out, bright and pure and completely unself-conscious. Cameron's deeper giggle followed. Evelyn thought about her son. About the rent she couldn't pay. About the car sitting broken in a mechanic's lot. About the future she'd stopped believing in. She thought about Mark's desperate eyes in that parking lot. About the way Lily had stopped crying when Evelyn knelt down beside her. About the feeling in her chest when Mark had smiled, really smiled, in her apartment. She thought about possibility. Okay, she whispered. Yes. I'll take the job. Mark's whole face transformed. Relief and joy and something deeper, something that looked dangerously like hope. Yeah. Yeah. Evelyn laughed shakily. But I have conditions. I keep my diner shifts on weekends. I keep substitute teaching when I can. And this is professional. Employee and employer. Clear boundaries. Whatever you need, Mark agreed immediately. He was still holding her hand. Neither of them let go. Evelyn started the following Monday. Mark's penthouse was everything she'd imagined and nothing she was prepared for. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Pacific. Marble countertops that probably cost more than her yearly salary. A living room bigger than her entire apartment. And Lily, sitting at the kitchen island eating cereal, swinging her legs and grinning when Evelyn walked in. Miss Evelyn. You came. I promised I would, didn't I? Evelyn set down her bag, the same worn tote she'd carried for years, and tried not to feel out of place. Mark emerged from a hallway, dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost thousands. He looked every inch the billionaire now, all sharp edges and confidence. but his eyes softened when he saw her. "You're early." "Habit. I'm always early for work." "Coffee." He gestured to a machine that looked more complicated than her car engine. "I'll figure it out." Evelyn approached the espresso maker like it might bite. "How hard can it be?" "Harder than it looks." "Here." Mark moved beside her, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Cedar and something expensive. His hand covered hers on the dial. "Press this, turn here, wait for the light." The machine hissed to life. "Thanks," Evelyn managed, hyper-aware of how close he was standing. Mark stepped back quickly, like he'd realized the same thing. "Right. So, Lily's schedule is on the fridge. She has ballet on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Piano on Wednesdays. She likes to read before quiet time, and she won't eat vegetables unless you hide them in something." "Got it. And if there's any emergency, any at all, you call me immediately. I don't care if I'm in a meeting with the mayor. You call." "Mark." Evelyn touched his arm. "She'll be fine. We'll be fine." He looked at Lily, then back at Evelyn, and something vulnerable crossed his face. "I haven't left her with anyone new since my mother-in-law moved to Arizona 2 years ago. The nannies never lasted. She didn't like them. They didn't like her. It was always wrong. And now feels different." Mark's voice was quiet. "She talks about you constantly. Miss Evelyn this, Miss Evelyn that. You made an impression." "She made an impression on me too." From the kitchen island, Lily called out, "Daddy, you're going to be late for your meeting." Mark checked his watch, swore softly. "She's right. Okay. Emergency numbers on the fridge. Credit card in the drawer for anything you need. And Evelyn." "Yeah. Thank you. For saying yes. For being here." Then he was gone, and it was just Evelyn and Lily in a penthouse that cost more than everything Evelyn had ever owned combined. "So," Lily said, slurping milk from her cereal bowl, "what are we doing today?" Evelyn grinned. "What do you want to do?" "Everything." The first week was an adjustment. Lily was easy, sweet and chatty and endlessly curious. She showed Evelyn her room, bigger than Evelyn's living room, filled with toys that had never been played with, her favorite books, all about princesses and adventures, her secret hiding spot, behind the couch where she went when she missed her mom. That last one broke Evelyn's heart. "Do you miss your mommy a lot?" she asked one afternoon, sitting behind the couch with Lily in their hiding spot. Lily nodded, hugging Sparkles. "I don't remember her. But Daddy does. And when he talks about her, he gets sad. So I don't ask anymore." "Oh, sweetie." Evelyn pulled Lily close. "Your daddy isn't sad because you ask. He's sad because he misses her. That's not your fault." "Are you sure?" "I'm positive. And you know what? It's okay to ask questions about your mom. It's okay to want to know about her. Your daddy would probably love to tell you stories." Lily considered this. "Do you think she would have liked me?" "I think she would have loved you more than anything in the whole world," Evelyn said fiercely. "Because you're smart and funny and kind. And any mom would be lucky to have you." Lily burrowed deeper into Evelyn's side. "I like you, Miss Evelyn." "I like you too, Lilybug." It became their thing. Behind the couch, telling stories, talking about everything and nothing. Sometimes Lily would ask about Cameron, and Evelyn would tell her about her son. Sometimes Lily would talk about school or ballet, or the mean girl in her class who said her unicorn was for babies. And sometimes they'd just sit in comfortable silence, this little girl who'd lost her mother, and this woman who was trying so hard not to fall in love with a family that wasn't hers. Mark started coming home earlier. It was subtle at first. Instead of 7 p.m., he'd arrive at 6:30, then 6, then 5:30, just as Evelyn was getting ready to leave. "You don't have to rush off," he'd say, loosening his tie. "Stay for dinner. Cameron too, if he wants. And somehow, Evelyn kept saying yes. Somehow, dinners became routine. Mark would cook, actual cooking, not just ordering in, while Evelyn helped Lily with homework at the kitchen island. Cameron would arrive from the after-school program, and the four of them would sit around Mark's massive dining table like they were a family. Like this was normal. Like this was real. "You're good with her," Mark said one evening, after the kids had run off to play. He was washing dishes, insisted on it, even though he had a dishwasher, and Evelyn was drying. "Better than I am sometimes." "That's not true. You're a great father." "I'm a terrified father." "There's a difference." Mark handed her a plate. "I don't know how to talk to her about her mother. I don't know if I'm doing any of this right. I just know that since you've been here, she's happier. Lighter. Like some weight I didn't even know she was carrying got lifted." Kids are perceptive. They feel what we feel. Evelyn set the plate down carefully. If you're carrying guilt and grief, she feels that. If you're afraid to talk about her mom, she thinks it's her fault. "Did she tell you that?" "She told me she stopped asking about her mom because it makes you sad." Mark's hands stilled in the soapy water. "God. It's not your fault either," Evelyn said gently. "You're doing your best. But maybe it's time to let yourself remember the good parts without drowning in the grief." "I don't know how to do that." "Yes, you do. You're already doing it." She gestured around the kitchen. "You're cooking dinner. You're laughing at Cameron's dinosaur jokes. You're coming home earlier. You're living, Mark." That's what she would have wanted. Mark turned to look at her, water dripping from his hands, and the expression on his face made Evelyn's breath catch. "When did you become the person I can't imagine my life without?" he asked quietly. "Mark. I know. Professional boundaries. Employee and employer." But he didn't look away. "Doesn't change what I feel." Evelyn's heart was pounding. "What do you feel?" "Like I've been asleep for 5 years and you woke me up." Mark took a step closer. "Like maybe it's okay to want something for myself again. Like maybe." "Daddy." Lily's voice called from the other room. "Cameron says dinosaurs are better than unicorns. Tell him he's wrong." The moment shattered. Mark smiled ruefully. "Duty calls." "Yeah." Evelyn's voice was shaky. "You should go referee the great dinosaur-unicorn debate." But as Mark walked away, he paused in the doorway. "Evelyn." "Yeah. This thing between us, whatever it is, I'm not imagining it, am I?" She should lie. Should protect herself and her job and the stability she'd finally found. "No," she said instead. "You're not imagining it." Mark's smile was slow and devastating. "Good." Then he was gone, and Evelyn was left standing in a billionaire's kitchen, drying expensive dishes, wondering how she'd ended up here. Wondering how she was supposed to walk away when everything in her screamed to stay. Late May came with warm sunshine and longer days. It had been 2 months since Evelyn started working for Mark, and the lines between professional and personal had blurred so gradually she hadn't noticed until they were already gone. She knew how Mark took his coffee. Black, 2 sugars, but only in the morning. She knew he had a scar on his left hand from a childhood bike accident. She knew he donated anonymously to the elementary school where she substitute taught because he'd seen their outdated textbooks and couldn't stand it. She knew he looked at her like she was the answer to a question he'd stopped asking years ago. And she knew she was in trouble. "Miss Evelyn, watch this." Lily executed a wobbly pirouette in the living room, nearly taking out a lamp that probably cost more than Evelyn's monthly salary. "Beautiful." Evelyn caught the lamp with one hand. "Maybe we practice spins in the hallway, though?" "Okay." Lily bounded off, all energy and joy. Cameron looked up from his homework at the kitchen island. "Mom, is Mr. Mark your boyfriend?" Evelyn nearly dropped the lamp. "What? No. He's my boss. But you're here all the time. And he looks at you weird. But I need you to know how I feel." His arms tightened. I need you to know that this isn't temporary for me. This isn't some phase or rebound. You're it. Evelyn turned in his arms, looking up at him. You're making it really hard to protect my heart. Good. Stop protecting it. Give it to me instead. Mark smiled. I promise I'll keep it safe. You can't promise that. Life doesn't work that way. Then I promise I'll try. Every single day. That's all anyone can do. Evelyn kissed him instead of answering, pouring everything she couldn't say into the kiss. Mark pulled her closer, and for a moment the world was just the two of them and the sound of waves crashing below. When they finally broke apart, Evelyn rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. I'm falling for you too, she whispered. It terrifies me. But I'm falling. She felt Mark's chest rise with a deep breath. Yeah. She looked up at him. So maybe we can fall together. And hope we land somewhere soft. Mark kissed her forehead. Deal. They told the kids officially the next week. It was Saturday morning, all four of them eating pancakes at Mark's dining table, the fancy one they usually avoided because Lily inevitably spilled syrup. So, Mark started, glancing at Evelyn. Miss Evelyn and I want to talk to you both about something. Cameron looked up from his pancakes, expression knowing. You're dating. How did you? Mom, you're not subtle. You smile at your phone. You sing more. You bought new clothes. Cameron shrugged. Plus, Mr. Mark looks at you like you're the best thing ever. Lily giggled. Daddy does look at her funny. I do not look at her funny, Mark protested. You totally do, Evelyn said, trying not to laugh. Mark shook his head, but he was smiling. Okay, fine. Yes, Miss Evelyn and I are dating. And we wanted to make sure you're both okay with that. Can we still have sleepovers? Lily asked immediately. Of course. And can Cameron be my brother? Cameron made a face. I'm not kissing you at weddings or anything. Cameron! Evelyn gasped. But Lily was delighted. We're not getting married, silly. Not yet. The yet hung in the air. Mark caught Evelyn's eye, something warm and hopeful in his expression. So you're both okay with this? Evelyn asked, redirecting before her heart exploded. It might mean some changes. We'll be spending more time together. Your routines might shift. And, Mom. Cameron reached over and patted her hand like she was the child. It's okay. I like it here. I like Mr. Mark. And Lily's cool for a girl. Hey. Lily threw a piece of pancake at him. Lily, we don't throw food, Mark said automatically, but he was fighting a smile. Even at boys who say girls aren't cool? Especially at boys who say girls aren't cool. Lily subsided, but she was grinning. Evelyn felt something loosen in her chest. This was real. This was happening. These two broken families were becoming something whole. Okay then, she said softly. I guess we're doing this. I guess we are, Mark agreed. Under the table, he found her hand and squeezed. But perfection never lasts. The first crack appeared in mid-July. Evelyn was at the diner on a Saturday afternoon. She'd kept her weekend shifts, insisted on it, needed the independence even though Mark had offered a dozen times to increase her salary. Martha, the owner, cornered her by the coffee station. I heard about you and Mark Taylor. Evelyn's stomach dropped. What about us? That you're dating. That you're living at his penthouse half the week. That you brought your son. Martha's expression was hard to read. Evie, honey, I've known you 6 years. So I'm going to ask you this as a friend. Are you sure you know what you're doing? I'm dating someone. That's all. That's not all. You're dating a billionaire who could destroy you with a phone call. You're letting your son get attached to his daughter. You're building a life in his world when you're still one of us. Martha softened. What happens when this ends? Because men like Mark Taylor don't end up with women like you. They just don't. That's not fair. Fair has nothing to do with it. It's reality. Martha squeezed her shoulder. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to protect you. Because when this crashes, and honey, it will crash, you're the one who's going to lose everything. Your job. Your stability. Your son's heart. Evelyn wanted to argue. Wanted to defend Mark and what they had. But Martha's words burrowed under her skin like splinters. What happens when this ends? She worked the rest of her shift on autopilot, Martha's warning echoing in her head. That night, back at Mark's penthouse, she watched him with Cameron. Teaching her son how to play chess. Laughing at Cameron's terrible jokes. Looking at her son with the same attention and care he gave Lily. Looking at Cameron like he loved him. Checkmate. Cameron crowed. What? No way. Mark studied the board. How did you sneaky kid, you got me. I learned from the best. Well, I'm definitely not the best at chess, so you must have some natural talent. Cameron beamed. Evelyn's chest ached. This was real. This was beautiful. This was everything she'd wanted. So why couldn't she shake the feeling that Martha was right? That she was building a dream on a foundation of sand, and any moment the tide would come in and wash it all away? August brought heat and tension in equal measure. Evelyn tried to shake Martha's warning, but it festered. Every time Mark casually mentioned a business dinner at a restaurant where entrees cost more than her weekly grocery budget, every time Lily talked about her private school and its scholarship kids with unconscious disdain, every time she caught sight of herself in Mark's floor-to-ceiling mirrors wearing Target clothes in a Versace world, the gap between their lives felt impossibly wide. You're quiet tonight, Mark said. They were in his home office, him working late on a development deal, her grading papers for her substitute teaching gig. Domestic and comfortable and wrong all at once. Just tired. Evelyn. He closed his laptop. You've been just tired for 2 weeks. Talk to me. It's nothing. It's not nothing if it's bothering you. She set down her pen, looked at him across the massive mahogany desk. Do you ever think about how different we are? Mark frowned. Different how? Different like, you made more money this morning before breakfast than I'll make in my entire life. Different like your daughter goes to a school that costs $40,000 a year and my son's school has a fundraiser to buy new playground equipment. Different like, her voice cracked. Like I don't belong in this world and everyone knows it but you. That's not true. Isn't it? Martha said. Martha. Mark's expression hardened. What did Martha say? Evelyn shouldn't have brought it up. But the words tumbled out anyway. That men like you don't end up with women like me. That when this crashes, I'm the one who loses everything. That I'm letting Cameron get attached to a life that isn't ours and when it ends, he'll be the one who suffers. Mark stood, moved around the desk. Evelyn, look at me. She did, reluctantly. Martha is wrong. We're not going to crash. And you do belong here, with me, with Lily, in this life. Money doesn't define worth. Easy to say when you have it. That's not fair. Fair. Evelyn laughed bitterly. Mark, you live in a world where fair doesn't exist. Where people like me serve people like you. Where? Where what? Where I fell in love with someone real instead of the shallow, vapid women I'm supposed to date. Where I chose someone who sees me as a person instead of a bank account. His voice rose. You're right, Evelyn. That's not fair. It's better than fair. It's fate. You don't understand. Then help me understand. Because from where I'm standing, you're looking for reasons to run. You're building walls and barriers and convincing yourself we're doomed because it's easier than trusting that this is real. What if it's not real? The words burst out of her. What if this is just some fantasy we're both living? What if 6 months from now or a year from now, you wake up and realize you want someone from your world? Someone who knows which fork to use at fancy dinners and who went to the right schools and who. Stop. Mark cupped her face. Stop. You're spiraling. I'm being realistic. You're being terrified. There's a difference. His thumbs brushed her cheeks. I love you. Not some theoretical perfect woman from my world. You. The woman who eats cereal for dinner when she's too tired to cook. The woman who cries at animated movies. The woman who gave her jacket to my daughter in the rain before she even knew my name. Tears spilled over. I'm so scared, Mark. I know. I'm scared too. But we can be scared together. What if I mess this up? What if you don't? He kissed her softly. What if we build something beautiful? What if we show our kids that love doesn't care about bank accounts or social status? What if we prove everyone wrong? Evelyn wanted to believe him. Wanted to silence the doubts. But Martha's voice kept echoing. When this crashes, and honey, it will crash, you're the one who's going to lose everything. Okay, she whispered anyway. Because the alternative, walking away from Mark and Lily and this found family, hurt worse than the fear. Yeah. But even as Mark kissed her, even as she let him pull her close, the doubt remained. A seed planted deep, waiting to bloom. The Real explosion came 2 weeks later. Mark's mother arrived unannounced. Evelyn was in the kitchen with the kids, making after-school snacks, when the elevator opened and a woman walked in like she owned the place. 60-something, blonde hair perfectly styled, designer clothes, the kind of pearl necklace that probably cost more than Evelyn's car used to be worth. Lily. The woman's face lit up. My beautiful granddaughter. Grandma Patricia. Lily ran into her arms. Evelyn stood frozen by the counter, very aware of her flour-dusted t-shirt and the chocolate smudges on her jeans. Patricia's eyes landed on her. Cool assessment. Instant judgment. And you are Evelyn Roberts. I'm the nanny. Yes, Mark mentioned he'd hired someone. Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. How lovely. And this must be your son. The pause before son was deliberate. Cameron, bless him, stuck out his hand. Cameron Roberts. Ma'am. Nice to meet you. Patricia shook his hand limply, like she might catch something. Where's Mark? She asked, already dismissing them. He's at a meeting. He should be back by 6. I'll wait. Patricia settled onto the couch like a queen on a throne. Lily, darling, come tell Grandma about school. Lily obediently sat beside her, and Evelyn watched the easy affection between them. This was Mark's mother. This was Lily's grandmother. This woman had a place in their lives that Evelyn never would. Cameron tugged her sleeve. Mom, can we go? We can't just leave. Please. One look at her son's uncomfortable face made the decision. Lily, we're going to head out. Tell your dad I'll see him tomorrow. But we were going to make cookies. We'll make them tomorrow. I promise. Patricia's eyes tracked them as they gathered their things. It was interesting to meet you, Evelyn. You too, Mrs. Taylor. In the elevator, Cameron pressed close to her side. I didn't like her. Cameron, that's not nice. She looked at you mean. Like you were bad. Evelyn's throat tightened. She doesn't know me yet. Once she does. She's still going to look at you mean, Cameron said with 7-year-old certainty. Because she thinks we don't belong. Out of the mouths of babes. Evelyn pulled him close, kissed the top of his head. We belong anywhere we choose to be. Remember that. But she didn't believe her own words. And when Mark called 30 minutes later, frantic. Why did you leave? My mother said you just ran out. Evelyn heard the accusation underneath. She didn't say I ran. She said I left. There's a difference. Evelyn. Your mother hates me, Mark. She took one look at me and Cameron and decided we weren't good enough. That's not. It is true. I saw it in her eyes. The same look I've been getting from everyone in your world since we started dating. The, what is he doing with her, look. Mark was quiet for a long moment. My mother doesn't know you. She doesn't want to know me. Give her time. Time won't change who I am or where I come from. Evelyn's voice broke. Maybe Martha was right. Maybe this is doomed. Don't say that. Why not? It's what we're both thinking. It's what you're thinking, Mark corrected, voice sharp. I'm thinking about how to fix this. How to show my mother who you really are. How to. You can't fix this, Mark. You can't fix that your world and my world don't overlap. You can't fix that I'll always be the poor single mom who got lucky and your mother will always see me as someone trying to take advantage of you. Evelyn, please. I need space. I need to think. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything except being honest. This is hard, Mark. This is so much harder than I thought it would be. So we work through it. Together. Maybe. Evelyn's voice was small. Or maybe we stop pretending this can work and save everyone the heartbreak. You don't mean that. But she'd already hung up. And for the first time since that rainy night in March, Evelyn wondered if falling in love had been the biggest mistake of her life. Evelyn didn't go to Mark's the next day. Or the day after that. She called in sick for work, which was technically true since her heart felt physically broken, and spent 2 days in her apartment watching Cameron and trying to figure out how everything had fallen apart so fast. Martha was right. She'd always been right. Mark called 17 times. Texted 43. She ignored them all. Lily called once, on the second day, and that nearly destroyed her. Miss Evelyn. The little voice was small and scared. Did I do something wrong? Oh, sweetie. No. You didn't do anything wrong. Then why won't you come over? Daddy says you're sick, but Cameron told me you're not really sick. He said you're sad. Evelyn closed her eyes. I am a little sad, Lilybug. Because of Grandma? She said some mean things about you after you left. Daddy got really mad. They had a big fight and Grandma left and now Daddy's sad too. It's complicated, sweetie. Are you going to stop being our friend? The question hit like a punch. Because I don't want you to stop. I love you, Miss Evelyn. You're the best almost mommy ever. Almost mommy. Evelyn bit back a sob. I love you too, Lily. So much. Then please come back. Please. Daddy's really sad and I miss you and Cameron and I want to show you my new ballet move and... Lily's voice broke into tears. Lily. Baby, don't cry. Mark, she's talking to Evelyn. A woman's voice in the background, unfamiliar. Then Mark was on the phone, voice rough. You made my daughter cry. I didn't mean. No, you're just running away instead of fighting for us. That's so much better. That's not fair. You want to talk about fair? Mark's voice rose. Fair is fighting. Fair is trusting me when I say we can work through this. Fair is not abandoning my daughter because my mother was a snob. I'm not abandoning. Then what are you doing? Because from here it looks like you're proving my mother right. That you're not strong enough for this life. That you'll run at the first real obstacle. The words cut deep. How dare you? How dare I? How dare you? You told me you were falling for me. You told me you wanted to try. And the first time things get hard, you disappear. You ignore my calls. You break my daughter's heart. Mark's voice cracked. You break my heart. Evelyn was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. I don't know how to do this. Then let me help you. Let me show you. But you have to stop running, Evelyn. You have to stop assuming this is going to end badly and just be here. With us. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Your mother. My mother is a judgmental woman with outdated ideas about class and status. I told her if she can't respect you, she's not welcome in my home. We had a massive fight. She left. And I don't regret it for a second. Evelyn's breath caught. You fought with your mother? For me. Of course I fought with my mother for you. You're the woman I love. You're the woman I want to build a life with. He exhaled shakily. You're it, Evelyn. Don't you get that? I'm not going anywhere. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not waking up one day and deciding you're not good enough. I'm here. I'm all in. The question is whether you are. Silence stretched between them. I'm scared, Evelyn finally whispered. I know. But I'm scared too. I'm terrified you're going to walk away and take half my heart with you. I'm terrified Lily is going to lose another mother figure. I'm terrified I found something real and beautiful and I'm watching it slip through my fingers because you won't trust it. It's not about trust. It's exactly about trust. Mark's voice softened. You don't trust that I mean what I say. You don't trust that my love is real. You don't trust that we can survive the obstacles. And I understand why. Your ex destroyed your ability to trust. But Evelyn, I'm not him. And if you keep punishing me for his failures, we'll never make it. More silence. Evelyn looked around her tiny apartment. Looked at Cameron on the couch, playing on his tablet, pretending not to listen. Looked at the life she'd built brick by brick through sheer determination and grit. She'd survived so much. But could she survive losing Mark and Lily? Could she survive not even trying? I need you to understand something, she said quietly. I'm not just scared for me. I'm scared for Cameron. He's already in love with Lily. He already sees you as a father figure. If this falls apart, I'm not the only one who gets hurt. Then we don't let it fall apart. You can't guarantee that. You're right. I can't. Mark's voice was fierce. But I can promise I'll fight for us every single day. I can promise I'll choose you over and over again. I can promise that whatever comes, we face it together. That's all I've got, Evelyn. My promise. My love. My commitment. If that's not enough, tell me now. Evelyn closed her eyes. This was the moment. The choice that would define everything. Stay scared and safe and alone. Or leap and hope. Mark caught her. Okay, she breathed. Okay. Okay, I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. I'm choosing to be terrified and do it anyway. She laughed through her tears. But if you break my heart, I'm keeping your espresso machine. Mark's laugh was relieved and joyful. Deal. Can you come over? Please. Lily hasn't stopped crying and I'm one princess movie away from losing my mind. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Evelyn. Yeah. I love you. Even when you're running. Even when you're scared. Even when you're being stubborn and self-sabotaging. I love you. I love you too, she said, and meant it. Even when you're pushy and demanding and won't let me wallow in my own fear. Somebody has to push you. Yeah, Evelyn agreed softly. Somebody does. She hung up and looked at Cameron. Pack a bag, baby. We're going to Mark's. Cameron's face split into a huge grin. You fixed it. I'm trying to fix it. Good. Her son hugged her tight. I like it better when you're happy. And you're happy with them. Out of the mouths of babes. Again. 30 minutes later, Evelyn stood outside Mark's penthouse, her heart pounding. She knocked. The door flew open, and Lily launched herself into Evelyn's arms. You came back. I came back, Evelyn confirmed, holding her tight. Over Lily's head, Mark's eyes met hers. Relief. Love. Gratitude. Hope. He mouthed, "Thank you." She mouthed back, "I'm sorry." And as Cameron joined the hug, as the four of them stood tangled together in the doorway, Evelyn felt something shift. This was worth fighting for. This was worth the fear. This was worth everything. Time passage. 2 days after fight with Mark, mid-late August 2024. Evelyn stayed home for 2 days, didn't go to Mark's. Evelyn called in sick to work, technically true, heartbroken. Mark called Evelyn 17 times. Mark texted Evelyn 43 times over 2 days. Evelyn ignored all calls and texts. Lily called Evelyn on day 2. Lily heard from Cameron that Evelyn isn't really sick, just sad. Patricia said mean things about Evelyn after Evelyn left. Mark and Patricia had big fight about Evelyn. Patricia left Mark's penthouse after the fight. Mark told Patricia if she can't respect Evelyn, she's not welcome in his home. Lily called Evelyn the best almost mommy ever. Unknown woman's voice in background at Mark's, possibly temporary nanny/helper. Mark accused Evelyn of running away instead of fighting for us. Mark said Evelyn is abandoning my daughter, proving my mother right. Mark, you break my heart. Mark's revelation, my mother is a judgmental woman with outdated ideas about class and status. Mark chose Evelyn over his mother, doesn't regret it. Mark, you're it, Evelyn. I'm all in. Evelyn's fear. Cameron already sees Mark as father figure, loves Lily. Mark's promise, I'll fight for us every single day. I'll choose you over and over again. Evelyn made decision, I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. Evelyn joked, if you break my heart, I'm keeping your espresso machine. Mark has been watching princess movies with Lily while Lily was upset. Evelyn and Cameron went to Mark's penthouse 30 minutes after call. Lily launched into Evelyn's arms when she arrived. 4 of them hugged in doorway. Cameron told Evelyn, you're happy with them. Evelyn apologized to Mark, mouthed, I'm sorry. Mark thanked Evelyn, mouthed, thank you.